The anthem that you just heard now is the last time that you will hear such an anthem titled God Save the Queen. And I believe for quite a week now, the proclamations have been going around of the UK proclaiming King Charles III, the first son of Queen Elizabeth II, as the King of England. This was a day that we all anticipated was gonna happen, but we didn't want it to happen, but at the same instance, it needed to happen because we understand that we are going through a new era and a new phase, and it's expected that someone else takes over. I didn't expect the Queen to die at 96. I thought she was going to live up to 100. I was definitely going to place my bet on it that she was going to live up to 100. And when the news came in of the royals traveling to Balmoral to see her, I was like, I saw it be, no worry. She no go die. The normal way. But I believe in the end, some things take their final rest. And Queen Elizabeth II has just taken hers. And when the Queen of England dies, or when the King of England, the ruler of England, well, it may be King or Queen, it is always called Operation London Bridge has fallen. And in this instance, we have a Queen. So they are always called bridges. Like each major royal member of the family is seen as a bridge between the spiritual world and the physical world, kind of like a bridge between God and man. And the King or Queen of England is titled London Bridge, and I think the Prince of Wales is titled as Tower Bridge, if I'm not mistaken. And the fall of a particular monarch comes with a lot of activities and changes. First of all, it starts with the immediate appointment of the next person that will take over that position, be it a prince or a king or a queen or whatever it is, and they all have lines of succession. And at this instance, London Bridge is Queen Elizabeth II, the lady who has been the Queen of England since the age of 27, and at this moment died at the age of 96. It is crazy what this woman has achieved. I understand that a lot of us are kind of pleased with her death because because of certain wounds, both past and present wounds that the British government has imposed on a lot of colonies. But let's just take a moment to celebrate history. Okay, this is the longest serving monarch in the British Empire. The British Empire, currently in our current world, is the strongest empire, and this is someone that ruled for 70 years in good health. Come on, this woman deserves an applause. I understand some people are hurt, but look at the bright side. Like, she did quite a lot of things. She was regarded as a very, very graceful lady. And she was also regarded as the queen that a lot of people ever knew. In her reign, God, she experienced 12 prime ministers of England. A dozen prime ministers of England. Who does that? And you should understand that some prime ministers don't just rule for 5 years or assume office and stay for 6 years or so. I can remember Margaret Thatcher. She assumed office and stayed there for 11 years. Imagine someone having to deal with Margaret Thatcher for 11 years. And same vein, the Queen of England, the late Queen of England, Elizabeth II, also witnessed 20 Summer Olympics and about 14 US presidents. My God, and half a dozen popes. Jesus Christ. Half a dozen popes. I've only experienced just 2 popes since my existence. Just 2 popes. And here is someone that has experienced 6 popes. And let's not forget how the papal election takes place. It's until death, that's when a new pope of the Catholic Church is appointed. And someone experienced half a dozen popes all her life. Oh my god. But now, let's get down to Operation London Bridge Has Fallen. I believe we've all seen the events that have taken place over the last few days, starting from the day she died to the flowers and everyone sending condolences. Like, this is so big that literally every world leader is sending out condolences and saying good things about her. She was quite a graceful lady, I won't lie. But to Operation London Bridge Has Fallen. Now, this is what happens when Operation London Bridge commences. The first thing that happens is the private secretary of the Queen phones the Prime Ministers and particularly says to him or her, London Bridge has fallen. And it is all crazy all over the world, especially at BBC, because a special alarm for this day is kept there, and automatically everyone in BBC or the major or those that are broadcasting the news automatically wears black suits. They change to black, and then the red BBC logo turns black. It is always crazy, and whatever they're doing at that point, it is interrupted to announce the passing of the Queen. And 4 days after her death, her corpse travels to Westminster Hall, depending on where she died. So she died in Balmoral Castle. So the coffin will have to leave Balmoral Castle down to Buckingham Palace, and then it goes to Westminster Hall, where it stays there until the burial at the Westminster Abbey. The Westminster Hall I don't think it's quite far from Westminster Abbey. I think the church. So 4 days after, the corpse travels to Westminster Hall, whereby loads of condolences will be made. And currently, as we see it, lots of UK citizens are paying tributes. Like, the line was so long, you can say more than 5 kilometers long, whereby it took half of a bridge. That was crazy. And during the events, the royals, especially the women, will cover their faces. Yeah, with kind of like a black woven cloth. I think back then, they covered their faces fully, like kind of like a black hood. But I think currently now they're using a kind of like a veil, not really a veil. I don't know, women, your nets kind of stuff that has a lot of punctured holes in it. I've forgotten what they call it. And the females cover their faces, and the Queen will also be buried in Windsor next to King George and Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, her husband, who passed away last year. But before all this take place, and when notice is being brought to everyone that the Queen is dead, someone in the black suit carries out a notice and pastes it on Buckingham Palace gates, saying the Queen is dead, blah blah blah, whatever. But so far, the next coming days is crazy for what is going to be happen, because then Charles III will make his official speech as the King of England, and there will be proclamations around England, God save the King, whatever. I think we've seen it going on whereby they make proclamations in major places, in Windsor, in London, in Scotland, in Edinburgh, and the rest of them. And they read the full statement in the Queen, in her passing, blah blah blah, the new king appointed, God save the Queen. And then it's followed by a 41 gun salute. I have always wanted to have a 21 gun salute. And here is someone that received series of 41 gun salutes. Like, this is crazy. This is really, really, really crazy. But then 10 days after the funeral, a lot of things happen in England. Like I said, since then, instead of mourning, markets closed down, shops closed down, even the stock exchange automatically closes down because everyone is mourning the queen. And then at 11 a.m. on the day the queen is to be buried, the Big Ben, quite a large bell in Westminster Abbey, to be clothed in leather, and it will be wrong, but the sound will be muffled because of the leather, because of the sign of mourning. This is going to be the biggest funeral that this century is going to ever see. This is the end of an era. I have not known any queen in my life apart from Queen Elizabeth II that is still alive. I heard of some queens like Queen Amina of Kano, strong queens back then. For me to witness a queen, she's the only queen, and she was so respected by kings. She carried out her duty quite well. She was quite dutiful to England and all. Even if I understand that her office did terrible things, I'm still pained by a lot of terrible things that her office did. But understanding the queen it comes with a lot of complexity. Okay, in as much as she has a lot of power, still she cannot really use those powers. If you get what I mean. Okay, like for example, she has the power to unseat anybody, any prime minister, if he's not doing quite well, but she cannot do it because it's a democratic system of government. So the people must elect who they want to be their prime minister. It is very, very complex. She has a lot of properties, like the Buckingham Palace belongs to her, but still it does not belong to her. That's how weird it is. If she's on an entourage to, let's say, the Commonwealth, and let's say she travels to Kenya, if the British government requests for her return, she will come back immediately. So it's more like an office more than a person. Okay, which is why right from when the next heir to the throne is born, the person is well groomed to understand that you have all these powers, but you cannot use them. I think a famous action she did was doing nothing. I think that was how she was able to hold the British monarchy for this long. Because let's be honest, the British monarchy would have been unseated a long, long time ago. Because this is an era unfolding and everyone wants democracy. But with the ability to do nothing and leaving everything in the constitutional hands of the British government. She is the British government, but still, she couldn't really influence. So, with everything that happened, the Suez Canal, like, let me start mentioning the bad things. The Suez Canal, what happened in northeastern Nigeria, Iraq, Afghanistan, and all of them. They may all be in her name, but she wasn't really the one who made those actions. I think her duty most is to England as a nation and the Commonwealth. Those ones come first. Anything that's going on, as long as England, it ensures the protection of England. That's the most important thing. So I think at this point, we cannot really hate the players, but we should hate the game. It's a celebration of life. 96. She was strong. She performed all her duties from the age of 27 to 96. That is crazy. That is really, really, really crazy. There's definitely going to be a series on the royal family. I am definitely going to cover that. I am definitely going to cover that because this guy, like, understanding the royal family is a task of his own. But after that, after the deaths, a new British currency is brought in with new stamps and passports carrying the face of King Charles III. And the anthem is turned from God Save the Queen to God Save the King. And this is the end of an era and the beginning of a new era. This is crazy.